Easy go.
What's up YouTube, it's the MLG Apache back with another video, and today we're going to be talking about Star Wars Battlefront 2. So, since the alpha codes have gone out, people have found new heroes and have confirmed the names and actual abilities of multiple of the characters. So, I'm going to have the link in the description for the gameplay, so you can watch it if you just want to see the gameplay without the commentary. This gameplay I really like because it stops and shows, like, you know, some of the different stuff, so you can just pause it and break down whatever's on the screen. And then I'm also gonna have in the description, I'm gonna have the links to the Facebook page that I found this on, as well as the actual link to the article that has all the information that I'm reading off of right now. So, to start off with, we have Boba Fett. Now, Boba Fett, his three abilities are for the hunt. He's gonna pretty much just have like a motion sensor pulse, which will reveal all of the enemies around him for a short period. He's gonna have a concussion rocket, which it's a concussion grenade in rocket form, and then a rocket barrage, which shoots multiple small rockets from his gauntlet. So he sounds like he sounds like what he's intended for. He's a bounty hunter. He has to find the enemies, take them out. So the next one we have is Han Solo. Now Han Solo has two returning abilities. The shoulder charge, you know, he just charges forward, does damage with his ability, and then sharpshooter, which allows him to shoot really fast for a short time. But his new ability now, instead of the little charge shot, he's gonna have a detonite charge, which is basically a sticky charge that he can throw out and detonate at will. So that'll be interesting. It's gonna be almost like playing him from the first Battlefront, but of course with this new ability. The next one is Leia Organa. This one doesn't have a confirmed name yet, but basically she changes out her blaster pistol for her enhanced E11 assault rifle, which for being Leia, it's pretty good. It's better, you know, have the E11 than just a small little pistol. Her second one is Squad Shield. This is a returning ability as well. You know, just put the shield down, creates a cover for you and your teammates. And then a new one for her is the concussion grenade. Just like Boba Fett's concussion, but this time it's an actual grenade rather than the rocket. This one's interesting though, because in the first Battlefront there were concussion grenades, I believe. Might have been flashbang. So it's interesting that she has them as an actual ability. And next is Luke Skywalker. So he has his Force Rush, which is also returning, just kind of a speed burst forward in any direction. Then a Force Repulse. This one's interesting. It says he sends a burst of Force energy out from the ground, dealing damage to any enemies nearby. But then he also has a Force Push. So they both sound like, you know, Force Push abilities, except one's on the ground, so I don't really understand how the mechanic works there, but we'll see when the game comes out, or when the beta comes out. And then the next one, this one's a new confirmed character, Bosk. Bosk is a bounty hunter. He's one of those lizard type aliens. He worked with Boba Fett when he was younger. He was like his little bodyguard. So Bosk has predator instincts. What that does is he loads in a round of high damage micro grenades and uses his Trandoshan instincts. So he gets heat vision and enhanced physical strength. So it seems kinda like a multi-part ability, because he does get his heat vision as well as enhanced physical strength. I'm not really sure what that means. It might mean more melee damage, I'm not quite sure, but then he also loads high damage micro grenades, so he can pretty much see you with his heat vision and then take you out with his micro grenades. The next one is Dioxis grenade. We saw this come in late in Battlefront 1, so it's basically a gas grenade. That'll be good for drawing people out of like bunkers and areas like that. And then last is proximity mines. Now that one's pretty explanatory, but he does get 3 sticky mines, and they'll detonate on a proximity trigger, and they do high damage, so I'm guessing they'll most likely either put you really close to death or just completely kill you. Next is Chewbacca. He gets a multi-shot, where he throws a grenade which can be broken into a cluster of small missiles which electrocute enemies they hit. So this one seems like it's a really good crowd control ability. You know, he'll throw them out in, let's say, some sort of capture point objective, and then he'll do damage to multiple enemies at once. His second ability is a heavy slam, so he leaps and smashes his fist into the floor, and it'll deal damage around him, and it'll knock enemies off their feet. So once again, seems kind of like a crowd control ability. This one's interesting though, because you have to get close up, but it seems, you know, it works because he's a Wookiee. Wookiees are strong and big. And then last but not least is a Wookiee Berserker. So he roars and overcharges his bowcaster, which enables him to fire fully charged shots with no charge time. So it sounds like he's gonna get his regular, you know, cross blaster rifle thing, but he's gonna be able to just shoot fully charged pretty much charges without actually having to charge. So that's gonna be very, very tough. And if it has, you know, splash damage, that's gonna be very, very tough if he's gonna have fully charged shots coming out rapidly. So that one's gonna probably end up having to be balanced. That's just my guess. So next we have Darth Vader. Darth Vader gets a saber throw, which is returning, you know, just throws his saber, does damage. Force choke, also returning, you know, just regular chokes them, and then he'll drop them into, you know, once they're dead or after the ability's up, which seems to be different from Darth Maul's, because Darth Maul's he'll push you after he chokes you. And then last is Focus Rage. What he does is he focuses his energies, allowing him to both deal and receive more damage. So this seems kind of like an ability that's dangerous to use. He'll do more damage but receive more damage. So as a hero, you don't really want to receive damage, but if you use it correctly, you can dish out a ton of damage. Next we have Emperor Palpatine. His electrocution comes back. He has a new ability called Dark Aura. The Emperor charges the air around him with force energy, damaging those around him and slowing their movement. So this seems to be a radius ability that'll do damage and slow the enemies. So that'll be really good for crowd control if you're being surrounded, and it'll help your teammates take them out because they will be slower and probably panicking if they're being damaged and slowed at the same time. And then his last ability is a returning ability. The Emperor gets Chain Lightning. This ability I really liked, and luckily he's getting it back, so that's going to be very, very powerful when you're playing as the Emperor. Now, one of the characters I'm most excited for that has just been confirmed is General Grievous. Problem is, we don't have any confirmed abilities for him yet, but it'll be very, very exciting seeing how he plays out in the new game, because he was very fun in Battlefront 2. And he's pretty much the only character that has more than 2 sabers, so it'll be interesting what he gets. Now next is Kylo Ren. Kylo Ren gets a force pull. So as you saw in the movie, he'll pull you ahead and towards him, so that's very easy for him to just use that and then slash, easy kill. Next is Force Freeze. Also saw that in the movie. He'll freeze all the enemies in front of him, which won't let them move for a duration of time. Which once again, that seems like, you know, just easy kill. And then last is Saber Charge. So he'll dash forward and perform a spinning 360-degree saber attack when the ability button is pressed again. So that one seems like a really, really good ability. You know, it's kind of like Luke's charge, but he'll do a 360 slash, so he'll hurt enemies on either side if you time it right. So Kylo Ren sounds like he's very, very powerful. It'll be really, really fun playing as him. And then next we have Darth Maul. We've seen a lot of gameplay for him, but now we also have the full detail and names of his ability, which of course is the spin attack, which is his dashing one. So that does damage as well. And then we have the Furious Throw, which is kind of like a force choke type ability, except he'll push you, he'll throw you. And then last is the chokehold. Just like Darth Vader, he'll choke you and then throws him to the ground. So we've already seen a lot of Darth Maul gameplay. We know he's super powerful and he'll most likely get nerfed. Next we have Captain Phasma. Unfortunately we don't have abilities for her yet, but since we didn't see her much in the movie, it'll be nice seeing her in the game, especially since she does have a really cool trooper outfit. Next we have Rey. We've also seen, just like Darth Maul, a lot of gameplay for her as well as her abilities. Now we have the details and the names. So we have Insight, which allows her to censor her surroundings, which reveals all nearby enemies. So this is a lot like Boba Fett's ability, pretty much the same thing. So that'll be really nice to have, and it really helps teammates out. Next is Dash Strike, where she'll just charge forward and deal damage with her saber. So this is a lot like what the other Jedis have. So that's nice for when, you know, you're being shot from a distance and you really need to get up there and kill them before they do more damage to you. And last, and the most interesting one for her, is Mind Trick. Rey causes nearby enemies to be dazed and confused for a brief duration. So what this means for, you know, the real life player is their controls get messed up. So this is very useful because, you know, they'll try to move back and end up moving straight at you. So that'll be really nice to use. It'll come in handy a lot when you're being ambushed. Next, and one of my most excited for characters, is Yoda. He has very, very interesting abilities. First is a Force Absorb. Yoda channels the Force, absorbing blaster fire before channeling it into a wave of force power that can damage and knock over enemies. So it seems like he'll absorb all the blaster fire, and then he'll do a, you know, like a force push type of ability that'll damage and knock over enemies. So that's a two-part, which not only, you know, makes it so you don't take damage, but you're also dishing that damage out. So that'll be really good. Next is a dash attack, you know, standard for Jedis, just dash forward, except in this case Yoda leaps forward because he is small, and then he hits on the way while he's dashing. He can perform the move 3 times in quick succession, just like Darth Maul's spin attack. And then last, there's no name for this yet, but basically Yoda becomes one with the Force, instantly removing any negative effects for him and healing him of his wounds. So it seems like, you know, if you get hit with, I guess, like a concussion grenade or a concussion rocket, you're dazed, you can use his ability, that effect will wear off and you'll heal. So that's very, very helpful for a hero, since heroes, you know, you use a lot of points, you're really not trying to die, so you get the health and you remove the effect. Next is a new confirmed character, Lando Calrissian. I completely forgot about him, so this is unexpected. But his abilities are, he plays a lot like Han Solo. First, he has a smoke grenade, you know, standard, just throw it, create smoke cloud. Really good for if you're trying to, let's say, cross a hallway or something like that. Next is Sharp Shot. Lando takes a moment to take focus on up to 5 enemies before delivering a flurry of headshots against each one of them. So if you play Overwatch, this is going to play a lot like McCree's ability, where he'll stop, focus on a few enemies and that are like in his view, and then he'll just pop them. So that one seems like it's going to be very, very good for crowd control. You know, just step into a hallway where there's like a big gunfight, use it real quick, pop 5 enemies in the head. So that one's going to be very, very powerful, and I'm sure a lot of people are going to get very, very mad when they get killed by that. And the last for him is Disabler. Lando throws out a sticky rebel device which disrupts the radars and communications of enemies around it, as well as revealing them through the environment. and he can detonate the disabler at any time to shock enemies around it. This is a 3-part ability. This sounds very, very powerful. Not only does he disrupt the enemy's map and communications, it also reveals them, just like Rey's Insight ability and Boba Fett's Pulse ability. But not only those two things, you can also detonate it and do damage to them with shock. So that sounds very, very powerful. If I were playing, I'd probably use Lando over Han, to be honest, because his abilities sound very powerful. And that's it. That's all the confirmed heroes and abilities we have so far. Tell me in the comments down below, who do you think is the strongest? Who are you the most excited for? Who do you think sounds weak? Which one do you think, people aren't really going to want to play? Let me know all that down in the comments. Like, share, and subscribe. I really, really appreciate it. And it really, really helps me out. So with that said, peace.